Hi. Um, I wrote an article that I think requires a response, even an apology from me. I wrote an article about the menorah um, perhaps still being, or perhaps being in the Vatican's possession. It's been an unconfirmed myth. By myth, I mean it may be true, it may not be true. It's certainly been believed for a very long time, and the menorah was clearly in Rome um, in the first century, and nothing, and it is unknown what happened to it. Um, there's an expression in science: lack of evidence does not mean an evidence that something is lacking. The fact that we have no evidence that it is not there does not mean that it is not there. Conversely, there is no evidence that it is there. I feel that the Vatican has been a bit cagey and not so straightforward um, in its dealings with Israel, and in this in particular. I and the reason why this is important to me, because to be honest, we have a new menorah. We're waiting for the temple to be built. There is a menorah waiting to be put into the third temple. I think it has to do more with the two religions in general. It has to do with replacement theology. The Vatican has a problem. They intended to, their intention, their belief is that they replace Judaism in its relationship with God. Um, and to be totally honest, I'm okay with that. I don't feel threatened by that. I build my own relationship with God. Judaism builds its relationship with God, and it's not dependent on the church. Um, I feel part of the problem is that I would like to connect with everyone. Unfortunately, sometimes that's not possible, and I'm learning. Um, I'm the Vatican has also learned that they cannot connect with everyone. They've built very strong and lovely relations with the Palestinians, but that by definition creates problems with their relations with Israel and the Jews. When I say the Vatican has this replacement theology going on, it's centered actually also around the temple. The Vatican, my understanding, and please, if I'm incorrect, please inform me. I need open dialogue. Um, the the Pope is the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. They have incense. They have the temple service. He is the priesthood. The source of celibacy is from the high priest being separating from his wife before Yom Kippur. That was my understanding. Um, that was my understanding of replacement theology, and I'm wondering this reawakening in Judaism, where we now are moving towards building the third temple, reestablishing the visible place of the Shekhinah, of God's presence dwelling amongst us. We intended it as a house of prayer for all nations. A lot of Jews have a problem with that, quite honestly, um, but I think that's what we're required to do, and it seems to be coming down that way as we move closer to this. Um, Many Jews and many Christians are coming closer together. I think that's a ripple effect of a house of prayer for all nations. Um, so what I'm saying is, I'm sorry I offended people, but this is a very important subject. Um, as a Jew growing up in America, I knew disturbingly little about the Christian world. Jews tend to lump Catholics and Christians together, which is horrifying to Catholics and Christians, and I'm trying to fix that. I'm trying to do a personal tikkun on that. Um, I'm learning, and but Catholics and Christians have to understand where I'm coming from as well. It was our holy temple, and we're still being denied. The world is still coming up against us, and for some reason we're not even allowed to pray there. We're considered second-rate citizens in our holiest place. So I'm sorry if I offend, but I think it's a bit justified and it's necessary to right a historic wrong. The Vatican has an awful lot to mend. Not just, gee, where are our temple vessels? That can be dealt with. Um, there, that is a question, but there are admittedly massive amounts of Jewish literature that the Jews no longer have because it was taken from us. It was burned, it was censored, and it is admittedly in the Vatican, and we are granted incredibly limited access to it. This is known. I'm sorry if I offended, but offense was given. I want to mend that. But amending is not done by overlooking clear and egregious wrongs. The Vatican does have a lot to answer for, and to be perfectly honest, and it hurts me to say this, they're not going about it in a very good way. I'd like to see that fixed. Things have to be exposed to the light. Things have to be brought to light. Thank you.